Welcome to another video where we'll be talking about the Argentina versus Switzerland game and the England versus Norway game. And of course, we're going to kick things off with the Argentina versus Switzerland game. And there's a phenomenon that occurred to me with this Switzerland game where essentially, as a fan of this Argentina national team, I've been living this World Cup very intensely. It's Messi's last days in his most competitive nature that he'll probably face for the rest of his career. Quite honestly, this is more than likely his last World Cup. At a club level, he's already taken a step back. But now, at 39 years old, he finds himself in the semifinal of a World Cup. And in my mind, when I envisioned it, I was like, man, this man gets to the semifinals and that's wraps. That's a successful World Cup. There's no failure in reaching a semifinal. And there's that sigh of relief. And what happened to me in this game between Switzerland and Argentina is that I was relieved that the game was over and that they had won. It was a relief, a release that there was no failure in this tournament for Argentina, because I know how much this tournament has been meaning to Messi. He's cried numerous times on the pitch throughout the course of it, and it's been a joy to watch, seeing the man in his final last dance. And today against Switzerland, Argentina played horrendously. And the reason I feel relief and rather excitement for what's to come for Argentina is because obviously Argentina did not play well. Argentina have not been playing well in this tournament at all. And yet somehow, some way, they've managed to advance knockout round after knockout round through just honestly throwing the shirt at the opponent. And this is Argentina. This is the best. This is the current champions. This is a team that you really have to punish 2,000 times, because if not, they're going to come back into the game and they're going to punish you one way or another. And against Switzerland, this game by Argentina again, as soon as I saw the repeated lineup, it was just, I knew we were in for the same thing. But how does the game start off? The game starts off with Argentina, yes, being more so on the front foot, right? And them finding an early goal with Alexis McAllister off of a corner sent by Messi. And it becomes 1-0 for Argentina. And at that point, I start to get frustrated because naturally, I already knew what Argentina were going to do. Sit back and defend and give all of the initiative to Switzerland. But Switzerland at the same time didn't do anything with the possession that they were having. And it made for a quite boring game, honestly. And it was frustrating to see. It was incredibly frustrating to see. But Argentina, right? They score the goal and then they play well up until probably the hydration break. And then after the hydration break, Switzerland gets reorganized again and starts possessing, but nothing too crazy, quite honestly. Nothing too crazy, not being threatening, not being damaging. But then at the beginning of the second half, Argentina comes out hot. It's led by Leandro Paredes. Leandro Paredes, what a number 5. Because the game of McAllister game was all right. He scored, so give the kudos to him. Enzo Fernandez had a terrible game, in my opinion. Rodrigo de Paul, again, being asked to play on being as an outside midfielder on that right hand side, incredible task to do well when it's not your position. But Leandro Paredes, honestly, it was short-lived. It was like 15 minutes at the start of the second half. You had Leandro Paredes take the game by the scruff of the neck. And that was the best 15-minute span that we saw from Argentina in this game. And it was because Leandro Paredes started picking up the ball and playing the ball through, finding Messi. Not really finding Messi all that much, but finding connections down and playing people through. Finding Tagliafico, especially on that side. Molina had a terrible game off the right, but it was incredible. Paredes started saying, all right, you know what? No one's progressing this ball. I'm going to take the game. I'm going to make this game my own, and we're going to progress forward and try to find opportunities like that. And, you had Argentina all of a sudden start to feel approaches. But there is one Argentina with this lineup of, let's go over the lineup. Tagliafico, Cuti Romero, Lisandro, and Molina outright. The weak link right there, obviously Molina. That midfield 4, all spread out across, of Enzo McAllister, shifty, however you want to make it, Leandro Paredes, and Rodrigo Repol relatively out to the right, and Messi and Julian up top. There's no width there. There's no threat on the wings at all. And it makes this team incredibly one dimensional because when can you thrive with four midfielders? When those guys constantly possess the ball and attack, and they're making runs in behind, and they're being fluid, and they're interchanging positions. But this Argentina side is so stagnant. It's so stagnant, lacks creativity. And today against Switzerland, they sat back. And today, the only moment of brilliance where they did start doing that is when Leandro Paredes grabbed the game for those 15 minutes, and then he started playing, swinging side to side, playing daring balls, finding Messi, finding Julian, finding Enzo and McAllister further up the pitch. And then when then Paredes goes down with the injury after he got stumped up with a Switzerland player, and he came back, slowly had to work himself back in the game, and that was the end. And Argentina once again sat back. The way they let the center backs walk up the pitch, damn near knocking at the door with having opportunities to shoot from far, it was just waiting for it to happen for Switzerland to tie up that game. And they eventually did. They were literally asking for it. After that initial 10 to 15 minutes coming off of the second half, you just knew the way Argentina sat back was disgusting because you saw what they had done in those 15 minutes and you just wanted to rip your hair out because what are you doing? You are capable. These people, Shaka and the center backs and all these people through the middle, you guys are letting them walk through you, and it was only a matter of time until Switzerland were going to tie that game up. It genuinely was a matter of time. And the equalizer does come. And guess what? All of a sudden, Argentina can attack again. All of a sudden, Argentina can be on the front foot again. And it was just frustrating. It was frustrating. But then Argentina find themselves with the big break with Embolo again, a childlike dive, being on a yellow. And that's just a novice mistake right there by Embolo because we saw that in the USA-Paraguay game after Tim Ream received the yellow after an alleged foul on Almiron. And then it got called back to review because given that they gave a yellow to Tim Ream, they take away that yellow from him and give it over to Almiron. This is the new rules leading into this tournament. And it's kind of like the same thing as the covering your mouth rule when you talk to an opponent. You simply cannot do that anymore. You cannot talk to an opponent in an aggressive manner, covering your mouth. And this is just another rule. If you are on a yellow and you do a blatant dive like that resulted in a foul, in a foul and a yellow to Paredes, that's just incredibly childish because the man, it takes a dive and you leave your team with 10 men. And after that, it was all Argentina, and it was only a matter of time until Argentina put that game away, which they did in overtime. It was still intense, right? But they still had some sort of degree of passiveness to them. But guess what? From there, Scaloni puts in Nico Gonzalez, and then all of a sudden you have Nico Gonzalez, who isn't even that great of a player, but at least he gives you width and some sort of speed going down line, and that opens up the game for you, and that allows you to be threatening off of that left-hand side. But either way, they're not able to get the job done within the 90 minutes. They go into overtime, and again, it's a matter of having to smooth Switzerland side to side and see what you can come up with. And Julian Alvarez comes up with a moment of magic. And I said it time and time again. If Argentina want any shot at this tournament, it's going to go through Julian Alvarez stepping up and scoring goals. And today he puts in an absolute banger that's out of this world, alien-like, in the farthest point for that goalkeeper to reach in the upper 90 and makes it 2-1 for Argentina. And you just know that the game at this point is pretty much done because Argentina had been pushing for the game, and they just were able to finally seal the deal because Switzerland were down to 10 men and there was nothing they could do. Switzerland, with the little resources that they had, tried going for the game. Eventually they got caught, inevitably get caught off of a counter, and Lautaro makes it 3-1 for this Argentina side. And the concern is that this team is not playing well at all. We'll get to the England in a minute, right? But England aren't playing well either. But This Argentina squad is so predictable. It's so hard for them to be on the front foot to generate play. They have no width. They have no depth. There's no runs in behind. They're incredibly one-dimensional and become easy to defend. And when they do sit back, they're not aggressive on biting on some of these players that are carrying the ball at the top of their box. And it was just a matter of time that Switzerland, everyone could see it. It was a matter of time. Thinking that after that goal, you were going to be able to park the bus and sit back the way that you did with the personnel that you have on that field is pathetic. If you're going to deploy this lineup, the other opponent better not touch the ball. They better have the ball 30% of the time. But to think that you're going to sit back, you already saw Switzerland have a hell of a game against Colombia. At no point in time did I even look past and imagine the hypothetical semifinals because I knew this game against Switzerland was going to be difficult, and it was. And they showed what they were capable of against Colombia. And this display by Argentina was pathetic. There's one thing, Scaloni taking so long with making the subs. What is your problem, man? There's some of these substitutions are screaming. I don't understand what it's gonna take to finally add some width to this damn team. Add some width to this team, please. It's, to me, I'm sorry, but it's inexplicable that Giuliano Simeone, Nico Paz, and Valentin Barco are not getting any minutes. 0 minutes. You're not trusting them at all. You're trying to die by the sword that got you the success. And yes, it's important. But in the World Cup, you had to roll the die on two guys who were relative novices at the time in Enzo Fernandez and McAllister. And they stepped up and showed up because they had a better present than Papu Gomez and whoever was, it's escaping my mind at the time, who was, and Paredes, right? They had a better present. Today, Leandro Paredes is one of the better midfielders. But now, Rodrigo de Paul is not at that level. I'm sorry, but he's not. What is Rodrigo de Paul giving you that Giuliano Simeone can't give you out there off the right? Please explain that to me, because he just came after a hell of a season with Atletico Madrid, being able to be that two-way player that can be responsible on the defense, but give you width and depth and speed on the attack. The guy's a nuisance. He's so annoying to play against. I suffered him as a Barcelona fan. And to not deploy that for a single second is incredibly frustrating. I get it. Scaloni might know something I don't, but it's automatic. The subs are going to be Lautaro Martinez and Nico Gonzalez. And guess what? Every time the team improves, why not start like that? Why not start like that? I get that you're married to that midfield three, right? Someone's got to give. I'm sorry, but this cannot be the case. Valentin Barco is a guy that doesn't feel pressure. He plays with a badass attitude to him. He feels the game, and he knows how to hit hard when the occasion calls for it. And he could play off the left. He used to be a left back, moved into midfield at Strasbourg, but he still knows how to play on that left-hand side and can give you outer play. 0 minutes. It's inexcusable to me. And at the very, very, very least, put Nico Gonzalez in. Put Nico Gonzalez in. Put Nico Gonzalez in. I don't know how else to say it. Put Nico Gonzalez in. Put Nico Gonzalez in. The game is improved every time he's on because you finally get some width. All right? You're not going to win this tournament by sitting back and having 30% possession. Nope. Even if you manage to get past England, you're not going to get whoever you meet in the final. No. This is not going to work. This is stupid. This is utter nonsense. And you need to add wingers. In Di Maria, you lost that profile. And the four midfielder, yes, it worked in the qualifiers. You blitzed Brazil 4-0 with this lineup, and you also managed to do at the Copa America. But stop, bro. Stop this nonsense. We can all see it. And okay, one thing might be true. Gaston Edul said it. He perceives that this Argentina squad is tired. Okay. The best way to rest is to beat your opponent, batter them early on, and then you can put the game to sleep with the 2 to 3 goal lead comfortably. Sway it side to side, retain possession. But being that passive and giving up the initiative to the opponent is not going to get you to this tournament. Argentina will not win this tournament like that. And I struggle to see how they even win it like that. No, this team is playing horrendously. But what's frustrating is that all the elements in order to make this squad so much more dynamic are right there. And I'll have to make a preview for the England game as the semifinals to further dive into this further. But Argentina are playing terrible, and there is no response to whatever this iteration of Argentina. It's a miracle they're here in the and I'm not trying to hear none of that about the referees and red. Go and cry. Go take a tissue box and cry. I'm not trying to hear none of that. Go and cry because it's people are crying over rules being enforced and that consistency being showed through the rest of the tournament. And it's just it's made for an annoying World Cup. Well, and I'm just gonna push those conversations to the side before I continue to get worked up. But yeah, they survived this, and that's the important thing because on the other end, this team's in a semifinal. This team has given their people hope. Messi at 39 years old has qualified to a semifinal with this Argentina team. Despite not having the best game, he still manages to run away with an assist. That's another thing. Argentina cannot leave Messi isolated and not get him involved in the game like they did today. Absolutely not. Is improper. You need to force feed him if you have to. Dani Alves said it best. He would tell Guardiola, no, mister, I have to give the ball to Messi because he is the difference maker and I need him sharp, involved, and participating in the game. All right. But the merit's there. They're in a World Cup semifinal. They are in the top four once again. And that has a lot of weight to it because despite not playing well, they've managed to get the results and get there. And that has to weigh because you're 2 games away from being world champions once again. This squad, once again, after maintaining themselves competitively, beating winning the Copa America 2021, winning the World Cup, and then winning Copa America again, and now being on the semifinals. But you have to applaud these players first and foremost. Well, even yes, we all have eyes. We all have eyes. We can see that the team isn't playing well. But damn, that is a semifinal run. How incredibly difficult is it to reach a semifinal? So difficult, but yet they're there and they're competing and they have the elements to do so. But there's a lot of improvements to be done in this game if they want to do so because that display against Switzerland was horrendous and it's more of a relief rather than positives going into the semifinal because Lord knows what's going to happen. Scaloni's going to have to wake up and shake something up in that for that game. Moving on to the England versus Norway game. And obviously, I had an emotional investment in the Argentina game, obviously. But in the grand scheme of things, what a snooze fest. What a snooze fest, that Argentina versus Switzerland game. And this England-Norway game, absolute snooze fest, especially when you don't have emotional investment in it. The first shot of the game came at the 27th minute. But anyways, I'm gonna talk about that in a separate video about the state of the game and these quarterfinals, which were absolutely horrendous, to be quite honest with you. But you can't begin to explain England's win over Norway without Jude Bellingham, the star of the show, the star of the hour. Jude Bellingham faced a lot of scrutiny heading into this tournament, and it was quite honestly pathetic. I made a TikTok video saying that I liked what Tuchel was doing with this side because he was building the team around Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham, the 2 guys that are more likely to show up for the national team, that have done so in the past, that have the best present, and that can give you moments to carry you over the line, even when you're not playing well. And there was the comments where the way people were talking about Jude. I'm a Barcelona fan. I don't even like the guy, like from a pitch level personality standpoint. But I never recognized that man shows up when he's playing at the 10. It should be anytime Jude Bellingham leaves the 10 position, it should be considered a crime against football. It is a crime for Jude Bellingham to not play at the 10 position for any team. And to think that Madrid have Vinny, Mbappe, and Jude Bellingham, and they've managed to make all 3 of them not work together is hilarious to me. You people are pathetic. And let me get on my Barca soapbox here. Yes, you've been getting belted by Pedri, Gavi, all this Lamine Yamal, all this Barca. That Madrid side is a super team, and we've been giving you belt like crazy. 2 years without a title. Anyways, back to man. I miss club soccer, man. I'm sorry. This World Cup's been annoying me, man. Give me good, proper World Cup soccer. But anyways, back to what we were saying. Jude Bellingham. What a guy. What a player. Making it after Hey, I'm leaving here with something. Anthony Gordon making his play off the left and getting the ball over to Jude Bellingham, who takes a touch, dribbles past two guys, and crosses it as if he was a perfect nine, makes it 1-0 for England. And that makes the game lively after that goal because Norway have to go forward and take the game over to England. And oh, oof, and let's talk about the controversy there that led to Anthony Gordon's goal. I am sorry, but I have to doubt it this time. I gave the technology the benefit of the doubt when it came to the Croatia game and Portugal, that the Croatian player touched it. Okay, I see the sensor there. You are not going to take me or anyone for an idiot. What I see with my own eyes, you're not going to take us for an idiot. It is okay for FIFA to admit that the signals of that damn sensor cannot reach that high up into the stands because clearly the ball, if you don't know what I'm talking about, is that the keeper clears the ball and it touches the cable up there and it drops down and England recover and that's where the goal comes from. And that should have been a drop ball. That should have been a dead ball right there. But England go and score off of that. And the sensor, FIFA came out saying that the sensor didn't detect the touch. I'm sorry, but we have eyes, and that was not a perfect arch. The ball hit that, and all of a sudden dropped sharply, and that goal shouldn't have stood. Point blank, period. And we can talk into the nuances of that, but you're not gonna. We have eyes, and we saw it. All right. There's a level where you trust the technology, but there's one thing. It's like what we have eyes to see. Do not take people to be stupid and make a fool out of them. I don't know what has to be done on that end, but that needs to be evaluated because obviously the range of detection. I'll believe you on the pitch. 100% I'll believe you on the pitch. I can see it. But when it's that high up, something clearly failed. Do not try to tell people that they are not looking at what they are looking because you are going to start to generate mistrust. All right. Anyways, continuing on. Norway. Right? Oh, Jude Jude equalized the game, but before that, Norway had found themselves leading the game after Schneider Loop had a miss hit off of a cross. The ball dived past Pickford well, and it was Norway, right, that went up. And England had to go look after the game. It looked lively there for a moment, and Jude gets his goal like I just described here before. And that was the time that this game was the most entertainment because England had to go and look for the game. But then after that, nothing. Genuinely nothing. Nothing. This game was boring. There was nothing here. And it was a poor game. Elliot Anderson, the game went right by him. The game was going right by him. The times that Jude left the 10 position, England lost control of the game. It happened twice with the switches that they were flip flopping, but eventually Norway on the front foot because and I can't I'm sorry. I do not understand how it is that Nusa didn't start this game. Oh, and before I'm going off on a tangent here. Obviously, the Sorloth situation with Haaland. Sorloth, I'm trying to change here for the better, Sorloth. I'm trying to not to describe you in a derogatory manner, Sorloth. Give that damn ball to Haaland. Give that ball to Haaland. I do not care what it is that you think it is you are going to fulfill or do on your own. And I get that the England player was relatively shadowing that pass, but you at least die trying giving that ball to Haaland there. That is a goal for Haaland. Oh, you give it to him on his left foot and he scores. That is inadmissible, inexplicable. There's no explanation for that at all. But that would have killed the game off for Norway, quite honestly. Anyways, back to the game. Norway start feeding themselves more in the game, are pressing. At some point they had found their goal once again, but that's clear foul from Haaland on Elliot. I believe that he two-handed push. You can't do that. It's a foul. It's a foul clear as day. That goal shouldn't have stood. But the other thing, man, you cannot. I'm sorry, but when I saw that Nusa wasn't starting, I was confused. And it clearly was that they brought Oscar Balban and Nusa at the same time, and they really took the game over to England. They really did. They started swaying England side to side, and they were giving them problems, both of them. They were giving them issues, and you just thought, why can't you start like this? Why does the game plan have to be that let's survive up until a certain point of the game and then we'll blitz you with these guys? Why couldn't they gave England hell in that time. They really did. They gave England hell. But then again, the man of the hour, who else shows up after a long shot? The keeper coughs up the ball and Jude Bellingham is there, crashing the box like always. 2-1 England, and that's wraps. That's the game. Jude Bellingham calls game. And there's not much to say. England didn't play well. Tuchel said it himself after the match that they played quite poorly, that this game was improper, and I think he's right in what he says. And that's just the German mentality, the culture differences that you have with your with the national team compared to England. And then the media start to rile things up because then they immediately go, dude, did you hear what Tuchel said? Did you see this is that? Your players coming off hot off of the game, just qualified to the semifinals, and you're throwing criticism right in his face. Obviously, he's gonna get defensive, and Jude Bellingham, says it's whatever that. Tuchel doesn't know what it's like. Tuchel doesn't know what it's like to be in there playing against Nusa, playing against Haaland, playing against these great players, and that they suffered and that they carried the job well today and they got the result. And he reiterated it later on in another presser where they were talking to Jude Bellingham again. And it's just, honestly, this is just constructed by the media because Tuchel is allowed to criticize his team, right? And everyone running to Jude. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? The British media is disgusting. They've caused Jude Bellingham a soloist and divisive figure in the locker room, and they found the perfect opportunity to jump at him because they know he has a strong personality and they know he'll say something. Do I think Jude was correct in the way he talked about Tuchel? No, I don't think so. You don't go up against your manager. You don't say that your manager's words or whatever. When you're heading into a semifinal, you don't want to stir the pot there. And you bite into their game. I get that the emotions are at 110% right there. But honestly, I don't think that it should be looked at for a bigger issue than what it is because that is stuff that gets resolved internally. Now, if he takes a stand in the locker room and that's the sentiment that goes around, then hey, sorry, hey, for by all means, if from Argentina perspective, let them people hate each other in there. But from a level-headed perspective, I think it is troubling that he would say that, but I think Tuchel's entitled to his opinion, and he's right, by the way. England played horrendously, terribly, but they got the job done. They got the job done, and they'll be facing Argentina in the semifinals. But that's about it for me, and here in my reviews over the games. Let me know what you guys made of the games in the comment section, and let me know what you guys thought of Argentina's performance. What you guys think of England's performance? What you guys made of Jude Bellingham's game? What you guys made of the exchange of words between Tuchel and Jude Bellingham? And what y'all made of Julian's game and Scaloni's decision making as far as Argentina's lineup goes? But yeah, go ahead and drop a like. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and let me know in y'all's comments, y'all's thoughts. See you guys in the next video.